as you all know, of course, opening games, there's a lot of always unknowns. The one thing you do know about this Miami team is they ended up losing their first 4 games, came back and won their last 6. Should have beat Mississippi State in that bowl game. They kicked a 35-yard field goal at the end of the game. They beat Mississippi State in the St. Pete Bowl. So returned 19 of those starters. One of their starters, a left guard, looks like he's even gotten beat out, which means they got a better player at left guard than what they had a year ago. So it'll be a great challenge. They're well coached. They're extremely tough. They're physical. It starts with their quarterback, that Ragland. He threw 17 touchdowns. He threw 1 interception. That 1 interception was in that St. Pete Bowl, where it was a 4th down where he had to take a shot for that 1 interception. So the biggest thing they do is they take care of the football. They're extremely well coached. They got a tall wideout out there. He can go up and get it. Their corner is an excellent corner. Their short corner over there, number 24, is a tremendous player. So they got really good players, and like I say, they're well coached. It's going to be a great challenge for us, and we're looking forward to it.
You get captains this week?
Yes, offensively, Ryan Yurchek will be the captain. Defensively, be Maurice Couch, and special teams will be Kari Vedvik.
How excited are you, Doc? I mean, it's just waiting game. It becomes treacherous.
Well, as always, it's great to get going. I mean, you spend all that time from January to this point, getting the opportunity to, all that time, especially in a game of football, you put all that time in for 12 opportunities to get to 13 to hopefully get to 14. So, you got to be excited about it. And, like I say, and camp's been a little different this year. I mean, we've been going at it since July 23rd. So, it's time to go play somebody else and see exactly where we are.
How good of a measuring stick is the opening game? Obviously, you weren't able to really judge much with Morgan State last year.
I don't. They're one. Like I say, they're one of the top teams. In the Mid-American Conference. Some people had them picked to win it, and they got a lot of starters back from a team a year ago. By the end of the year, they were an excellent football team playing really good football. So it'll be a tremendous measuring stick for us, and we'll see where we are.
Seems like a little bit of strength on strength. Your all strength last year was the passing game, and their strengths are secondary. What was the key to out executing the other when it's a strength?
Well, I mean, you just got to do what you're coached to do, and go make plays. I mean, like I said, we've got some guys out there. Our receiving crew. I don't think there's just a couple of them out there that even played. So it'll be a lot of new guys out there running around, and so it'll be fun to go watch those guys go play. And same thing with got different guy in the backfield, and some guys up front are all healthy. So I'm anxious to see like I said, I'm anxious to see our guys go play against somebody else.
You've been watching Tyree Brady for about a year and a month now. How excited are you as a coaching staff to see what he can bring to the table on a game night?
Well, I like Tyree. I think he's a good player, and I'm anxious to see, like you say, how he goes out and plays on Saturdays. So I think knowing Tyree and the way he's practiced, he'll play well. So him, Maurice, there's a lot of those guys that we're excited to go see play.
Got a few guys, Tariq Adams maybe as important as any, who have not played in front of any amount of people really. And this is the first game in a Marshall uniform in front of fans. I mean, what do you tell them, and what's been your experience over the years about those players?
Well, I think the good thing about Tariq is he's got some guys lining up against him that played an awful lot of football, so that's important. He's got some guys around him that have played a lot, and I think the biggest thing is your preparation. I mean, if you go out and prepare, the way we practice and the way we go about our business, he should be prepared to go play. He will be being prepared to go play in that game. And, like I say, you play if you're prepared, you don't worry about it. You just go play and execute what you're coached to do. So Alex has done a great job not only preparing him, but that entire offensive line. So he'll be ready to go.
Looking to the defensive side, Frankie Hernandez is a guy that hadn't been able to get over the injury bug, but he's been able to stay healthy this preseason. He's listed as a starter for this weekend. How excited is he that once he got that call that he would be in?
Well, he likes to play. I mean, Frankie's a guy that likes to play the game, and as all of them do. And he's healthy now, and he's, like I say, he's bigger, he's more physical, he's stronger. So I know he's looking forward to going playing as all our guys are.
Sort of seems like he has a knack just to find a way to make a play, even in the limited time that he was able to get out there the last couple of years.
That's what good linebackers do. I mean, I've said many times in here, there's a couple positions out there that if you got to go coach the heck out of that guy, chances are you don't have one. And that's linebackers one position when that ball's snapped. Normally, if they're really good players, they got a nose for that ball and find a way to go get it. And I think tailback's another position that if you get to coach that guy to do everything, he's not probably the guy you want there. So I'm anxious to watch Trey go play because I think he's got a little bit of that in him, and of course Frankie does, along with the rest of some of those linebackers. So we'll see.
Physically, I know you guys have gotten better, but some of the kids were talking today about mentally, just it's a more cohesive group. Is that something you can speak about?
Well, like I say, I like this group a lot, and I think they've, like I say, the guys that are here right now got a lot invested right now. They've had a tough. This has been a tough winter and spring and summer is had since I've been the coach here, maybe anywhere I've ever been. So, the guys here now, they love ball. It's important to them. They're tough, and I think they'll respond that way. So I would expect them to answer that question that way because they've got a lot invested in it.
From the day after the season ended, what were your goals with Chase Litton, and how far do you think he's got? You've got him prepared here, first game week.
I think our goals with him was just to make sure he understands the responsibility that it comes with being the quarterback at Marshall University, and the responsibility goes along with that. And I think he's done a great job embracing that. I think he's worked extremely hard to become a better player. He's put on weight. He's more physical. He understands a better understanding of the game. I think what he did to help himself over the summer with the Manning camps and everything that went along with what he did to prepare for this season. I think you'll see out there on Saturday because he's been great in practice to this point. He's got to carry that over to the game.
Miami returns basically everybody on defense, but the one position they did have to replace was the defensive end spots. And how important is it for you all to neutralize as an offensive line the middle? That way you can sort of attack some of those younger players on those.
Well,
outside.
those two defensive ends are both in the NFL. They were good players. They were excellent players, but they've got good players they replaced them with. Those two inside guys, that one's 330 pounds. He's a man in there, and they're both really good players. And so but you could see the guys they had playing behind those guys a year ago. They came in and played an awful lot. So it'll like I say, it's important that our offensive line does a great job blocking, getting after all those guys. And but they're good players, and it'll be a good matchup for our guys to see where we are.
What has Vedvik showed you from his transition from Hunter State?
Vedvik is different. He's probably the toughest, most athletic kicker I've ever been around in all my years of coaching. I mean, he's an unbelievable kid. And talk about a guy go to work every day. And he works. You watch him in that weight room and the way he goes about his business. He's a tremendous kid that takes great pride in what he does, and he's a talented guy. So he's going to he's going to do all three things for us. He'll kick off, he'll punt, he'll also do the extra point field goals. So he's a talented guy that I'm anxious to go watch. He's a fun guy to watch, a fun guy to be around.
He's come a pretty long way from his first action was against Miami, wasn't it? He was the kickoff specialist that year when y'all went up there.
Yeah, he was. How
far has he come?
Oh, well, he was really, he's always had a tremendous leg, but he was inconsistent. If you remember punting the ball early on, but he's done a great. He's worked extremely hard at what he's done. He's gone to a lot of camps throughout the summer and done a lot of things to improve his game. And he's like I say, he's just a talented guy right now that we're really excited about.
Some things in the lineup. Justin Morrow, got him listed at nickel, and he's probably come on a little bit from the beginning of the camp. If you could discuss him.
I think he's a talented guy. He's a talented guy that's, again, a young guy that hasn't played. But, I think, the one thing we had to do is get more athletic at the corner position. I think if you look at the three guys we got playing there right now, that we have done that. And, we like where we are at corner and of course, also at the safety position. But he provides the athleticism that we need, at that nickel back to be able to line up on the slot and do what we ask him to do.
And McLean Sapp, he's been fighting his way all camp, and you've got him on the top line. Talk about what he's been able to do.
He's another young guy that he's had a great camp. He's really a talented young player that continues to get better. So, and Chris, of course, played a lot a year ago. Got a lot of snaps under his belt a year ago. But all three of those guys, I know Chuck's happy with what they've done. Our defense starts outside, and we work in with those guys at the corner positions. Those guys are going to have to play well for us. We think they will.
Coming in with the rushing attack, we talked a lot about Trey Rodriguez and Tyler King, and King is not listed on the depth chart. Is that just a week-to-week issue, or is that?
Yes, no, it's a week-to-week deal.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a week-to-week.
You guys got Xavier listed as a tight end now.
Mhm.
What do you think he's going to be able to bring to that position?
Well, he's a guy that's a really talented guy, You watch him out there, and he can do a lot of things for us. It reminds me a little bit of Gator Hoskins years ago, that transitioned from a quarterback to playing tight end and had the opportunity to play in the NFL at one point. So, he's not there yet, and he's still in the learning phase of what we're doing. We're working him into some special team stuff, and he's playing some tight end. He's working in there at tight end for us too. So, I think he's a talented guy that at the end of the day he can make a lot of plays there and create some matchup problems at some point when he's ready to go.
Doc knew probably going to be a good one. His brother was here, and he coached his father, Cody Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Where's he at now?
Cody's just a guy. He goes to work every day. Extremely tough. You can count on him. Wherever you put him, he's going to get his job done. So, he's a guy that he's just, like I say, he's a tough guy that I tease him and Yurchek. They look like twins out there at times, but he's a good player. Him and Ryan will work some at tight end, and Cody will play on almost, if not all, the special teams, about 2/3 of them. So he's a good player.
When you're trying to combat the veteran presence that they bring to the table with some of the newcomer first game jitters that you all might have, how do you all do that as a coaching staff, trying to get everybody right and ready for what they're going to experience Saturday?
It's just all about the preparation. You got to go out and you try to simulate, try to put these kids in every situation that they're going to be in. In that game. Now it's like I say, first games, there's a lot of unknowns. There's going to be some things that happen, and you just got to make sure they stay. There's going to be some adversity. Those kids have to understand that. Early on and throughout that game, there's going to be some adversity. You just don't worry about it. Just keep playing, and we'll make adjustments. And first games are always, the coaches have to, make some adjustments because they're going to do some things different than what they did a year ago, and so are we. So, we'll have to make some adjustments early on. The kids will have to be able to handle those adjustments and go play. But, it's always about, the preparation and the way you go about things. And, we came here last night and had a Tuesday night practice, which I thought was a tremendous practice last night under the lights, and today will be a Wednesday, so we'll have a couple Thursdays. So we're a little ahead of ourselves, with this team. So, I feel like our kids are getting the preparation they need, and by the time the game rolls around, we'll be ready to go.
24 for them, their cornerback, I think, it's Heath Harding.
Yeah.
He's a guy that played against you in 2014 and made a few plays. And how has he grown, and what are you seeing on film for him? Most
people think he's the best corner in the league, and he's a really good player. He plays short side corner for him there. He's the one guy he's going to press up, and you're going to have to win one-on-one against him. I mean, he's into the boundary, and you're going to have to find a way to win against him versus press coverage. But he's an excellent player that's, as you mentioned, played an awful lot of football against us, and most people have him projected to be an NFL guy and probably maybe the best corner in the Mid-American Conference. So it'll be a challenge for our guys, and I'm anxious to see how they match up against him.
If I remember right, whenever y'all played him in 14, Quentin Rollins was one of their corners, and he's an NFL guy now. Is he a similar type player to Quentin Rollins, one of those just physical corners?
Quentin was a kid that played basketball. He only played 1 year of a corner, and that was a year against us, I think. But he's still playing in the NFL, so that tells you what kind of talented kid he was. He was a point guard for him, I think, and they moved him to corner, but did a great job. But this guy's not as tall. He's not as long as what Quentin was, but he's played a lot more football than what Quentin did. And like I say, he's an excellent player. I'm sure he'll be playing on Sundays next year too.
Coach, you mentioned Mississippi State earlier in the bowl game against Miami of Ohio. I know you know Coach Mullen from your Florida days. In addition to all the film you guys have watched on Miami, have you reached out, maybe picked his brain about some things since he's the most recent coach?
No, not particularly. I mean, I talked to Dan, but at the end of the day, we can see on tape, and I know what Dan's doing offensively because he's very similar to what we were when we were in Florida together. But I think they're a different team this year, just like we are. And now a lot of the personnel things you can get the personnel matchups and all that from the tape, but. I could take a look at the tape of what they did both offensively and defensively, and know what Mississippi State lined up and did against them, and we did.
Lots of men of their passing game, but both of their top two rushers are back again this year as well. What have you seen on tape from them that kind of sticks out about the running game?
Very fit. One's extremely physical. The other guy's a kind of make you miss type guy, but they do a good job. The biggest threat that quarterback is what drives you crazy because he's. If you watch him, he's going to beat you with his feet an awful lot. I mean, he's got a lot of quarterback runs that are designed for him, and then if he drops back to throw it and he doesn't have what he wants, he's going to take off with it. So that quarterback is a major problem, not only throwing it because he's extremely accurate when he makes his throws, but you got to keep him in the pocket and keep him from contained. because he's going to take off with it and run with it, not only with designated runs, but also in scramble situations. So he's a major headache for everybody he's played, and we'll have to make sure we do a great job of trying to contain him.
Coach, earlier in camp, you talked about Willie. Talk about the progression he's made from year one to now, especially coming off the injury.
Well, I think anytime you get those guys a whole year in the winter program and go get through another spring ball, and then of course all the summer, and physically he's just bigger and stronger. So I think Dallas has done a great job with those guys, and he's had the last 2 or 3 weeks he's played really well. So again, he's a talented guy that just needs to go play. So he's like I say, he's had tremendous 2 weeks, and he needs to carry that over into Saturday.
You mentioned Ragland's ability to move the football, and how much better do you all feel about being able to contain a quarterback, given that your defensive line has become so much more athletic with B inside and athletic guys on the outside? Yeah,
well, I mean, we're going to have to. I mean, there's no question those guys are a little more athletic, but at some point you got to have a linebacker or a safety, or you got to have somebody that can match up with him and get him on the ground. And like I said, he's just an extremely tough, physical. He's got that it factor. He's a football player that he's going to find a way to go get 4 or 5 yards when he takes off with it or more if you give him that opportunity. And like I say, it's going to take a team defensive effort to keep him contained, and then when he does take off, to get him on the ground. So I know we've worked hard at it, and it'll be a challenge for us. But I'm anxious to watch our guys go play because of the things you just mentioned.
At this point, how is, I guess I shouldn't call it an experience, but how is Ryan B's shift inside?
I think, like I said, as you'd mentioned, it's made us more athletic inside with him moving in there, and also Channing, is an athletic guy in there, and the Couch, who's now our captain this week, with Couch and Durant, being able to play that in position, it's provided a little bit more depth inside for us with the other 3 positions. So, I like getting those guys on the field, and we'll see the results of that on Saturday. But being able to play, as I mentioned, Couch and Durant at that Fox backer has increased our depth inside, and also give us the opportunity to get more athletic inside.
The history between these 2 teams kind of amp up the excitement to
Yeah.
get them started.
Yeah, no, there's no question. I mean, don't we all understand the history, but it's the first game. It's the next game. So I think that's important that. But there's no question that our kids understand the history and all that. But it's the next game. It's our first game, so we got to be ready to go. Okay, thanks, guys.